Hey, and we're back. From where, I still don't know, but it's the Gil Can Run Show, episode 17. I don't have 17 fingers. What am I going to do? So, check it out. Hartford Marathon's coming up next week. Have that blood scientific study thing. Very cool, right? Got turned down. Did not make it into, didn't get turned down. Didn't make the lottery for a London Marathon. I don't think I'm ever going to try for the London Marathon again. I don't think I'm ever going to enter another marathon lottery ever again. Which leaves my April open, maybe for Rome. We have to see what happens. I got a lot of stuff going on right now. I just spent my whole night doing receipts for this house because it turns out that I've already paid my deductible for the insurance company in buying stuff for the house that contractors should have taken care of, but it said I ended up having to take care of it. And so actually at this point the contractors actually owe me money, or the insurance company owes me money if they haven't already paid the contractors for the stuff, which I know that they haven't for some of it. So my insurance company owes me money out of my own pocket. I've spent a lot of money on stuff for this house, and it's kind of made my finances a mess. And then being unemployed doesn't help matters any. So here we are at this point, trying to get everything sorted out. So we're probably going to do Rome in April. We're not 100%, but that is probably what's going to happen. I'm really hoping. I really want to be in Rome. I want to be in Italy. I want to start looking for jobs in Europe, to be honest with you. I want to get out of here. So we'll see what's up. We'll see what's going on with that. We'll see how everything goes. Because you never know. You never know what's going to happen. I try not to make plans too far in advance because life just happens and things get all messed up. So we'll see where it goes. We'll see what happens. We'll see what's going on and go and figure it out from there. So not a lot of marathons on the schedule for next year. I don't think I'm going to do a lot of races next year. I think I'm going to pick races, and depending on what happens, where I'm at, I'm going to pick shorter distances, and I'm going to try and pick courses where I know I can run really fast. And I really want to see at shorter distances how fast I can really get myself to go. I just want to feel that challenge. Someone on Facebook was posting something, he's a big time blogger and he makes lots of money off of this, and he makes lots of money off of racing because he's actually fast and good at it. And I don't make any money off of this. So, but he was saying fast is fun. And I'm like, well, no, fun is fun, right? Whatever you have fun doing, that's what you have fun doing. If I'm not having fun trying to be fast, then I'm not going to do it. But I want to see how far I can push myself, where that challenge is in being fast. And if it turns out to not be fun at the same time, then I'm going to say, forget about it, right? So it's not a big deal. And we'll see what happens. We'll see where that goes. And, who knows? Who knows? If I hit my under 20 minute 5K, I'll be more than pleased with myself. It's a tall order, I realize, to take a full minute per mile off of my 5K, but I think I can because I've never really trained for speed. And yet when I stay focused, when I stay, clear, and I have the right course and everything, I can really kind of do pretty well. Today, I ran about 7 3/4 miles. I did what's becoming my normal loop around, which is up my hill, down Whitney Avenue, through downtown New Haven, turning on George Street. And if you don't live here, you don't know what all this stuff is. Back up State Street, going across the bridge. I'm loving the fact that the bridge is there. Now if they could just finish the construction on the building that they're doing and finish the sidewalk so I can run on the sidewalk instead of the road, and I don't have to run in their construction debris. I had cement all over the back of my legs today after running through it. It was so irritating. I was so pissed. But, it is what it is. And, come up State Street and back to my house. So, I realized, as I'm coming down Whitney Avenue, right at the start of mile 3. So I just finished finished 2 miles, right? And I'm just starting my 3rd mile. I see these high school kids turning the corner onto Whitney Avenue, and I realize that they're with the Wilbur Cross track team. I guess I don't know what season they're in. I never participated in track. I never paid attention. I had some friends who did track. great people, but I didn't pay attention. So what is it, indoor track season they're going into now? It's the fall. I'm guessing cross country is almost over or is over. I don't know. Anyway, maybe it was cross country. I don't know. So they're coming down and they turn on Whitney Avenue. And like the slow ones I catch before they even turn on to Whitney Avenue. I didn't feel I was going that fast. I was doing a little bit under a sub 8 or so. And I'm like, let's see if I can hang out with the high school kids for a little bit. Next thing you know, I've passed their lead runner. And I was doing a 7:30. And I kept it up pretty much for the rest of the mile. I slowed down a little bit. I scrolled it back a little bit. I, took the next mile kind of easy, which is through downtown. It's kind of hard to really push through downtown because you come to so many intersections. You got to stop. You don't know what's going on. You got to see what's up there. So I kind of slowed down, got through, took my turn. Miles 4, 5, and 6, or miles 5, 6, and 7 were much faster back up State Street, which is nice because they were a little incline. So I was doing like 7:40, 7:45, back to home. And that was later in the run. I ended up averaging an 8:06. So I'm pretty proud of myself for that. It's been a long summer, lots of very slow trudges, lots of pain through my knee and my foot, my right knee, my left foot bothered me all summer long. It was very painful to train. It was very painful to race. And I seem to have gotten through it, come out the other side. There's still a little bit of, it's not even soreness, it's just a weird feeling in the bottom of my foot. But beyond that, I'm pretty good. I've noticed how I sit when I'm doing certain things affects my knee, so I've been staying focused on keeping those things from happening, from causing more pain. I'm keeping an eye on what I eat. I'm keeping an eye on my weight, which also helps. Apparently being over 175 for me makes it bad for me to run. So we're working on that. My blood pressure has also been massively high with all the stress of the house and everything and being homeless for a month technically and all that stuff. The stress has been very high. My blood pressure has been terrible. I should probably go see a doctor, but I'm kind of in this weird twilight area right now where I'm not really sure if my old insurance plan covers me or not. And I don't know what's going on, so I'm not going to chance seeing a doctor because I don't have the money, quite frankly, right now. So that's just not going to happen. And, I'll work it out when I have to work it out. Or it'll kill me, one or the other. If I stop posting, chances are, blood pressure killed me. It hasn't been that high yet, though. I'm just kind of joking around. I just know that I have a family history of blood pressure and whatnot. So I do need to keep an eye on it. But as I said, I've been feeling good. I haven't been having problems. I'm not worried that much about it. I'd be more worried if I was having problems and I felt bad about things. Really, most of my problem with the blood pressure right now is just making me yawn a lot, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what's going on. We'll see how that all works out. Once again, who knows? You never really know. So we just go with it. Other than that, so Hartford's coming up. I really don't have anything planned. Still Brooklyn or Philly, I haven't been able to register for either. I've been stuck because of this mess with the house. So I'm getting a little bit nervous that they're both going to get closed out, but I'm hoping that they won't. And then hopefully December's already taken care of with Roxbury. The day after Roxbury is the Christopher Martin's 5K. And that is a lot of fun. If you live in the area, if you live in Greater New Haven, if you live in Connecticut, wherever, Christopher Martin's 5K, it's great because all the participants drink for free at Christopher Martin's afterwards. So basically the idea is you run the 5K, go to Christopher Martin's and get wasted. So it's kind of a lot of fun. It's a good time, although Christopher Martin's completely packed at that point. It's kind of a mob scene. But when you're with friends and whatever, you kind of stake out an area and you squeeze in, and then people are just passing beers all over the bar, and you just grab a beer when you need a beer, and that's that. And it's really simple, and it's really cool, and it's a lot of fun. So we'll give it a try. We'll see what's up. I hope a lot of my friends will be running again this year. I know a lot of people in the club will be running, but I think that like, you know, a lot of my friends from the area also run it, which makes it very cool. My cousin ran it last year, her boyfriend, a bunch of my friends from high school ran it. So we will see. We'll see what's up and we'll see how that goes. And then, you know, I have nothing planned after the first of the year. I have nothing on schedule. With London out of the picture, it's a clean slate, and I don't know what's going to happen. Probably not going to run the XL Center again this year. In fact, I'm not going to run any races in January, and I'm probably... I'll do Savin Rock, but that should be in March. So I'll do Savin Rock, and I haven't decided if I'm going to do the half or the full, honestly. I might just do the half. I did the inaugural full, and I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do the full or not. I might not. I haven't decided. I love all the events that Clint puts on and the Shoreline Sharks put on. So, and speaking of which, there were bandits at the race. After he specifically was like, do not bandit this race. If you do, I will come after you with everything that I have. I do not care. You are jeopardizing this race. You are jeopardizing my, you know, business. You are jeopardizing my club. And generally, bandits jeopardize all races. And I might have gone into this a little bit, but a few people were like, oh, I don't like how he's, you know, bullying them on the internet. Well, because he went after them. And then when he found 3 out of the 4 of them, he was like, these are the people, and, you know, I'm putting them on blast. And people got like upset about, oh, cyberbullying, I heard, and stuff like that. And it's like, no. Like, he said he was going to do this. They ran it anyway. He followed up on what he said he was going to do. And he was right to do it. I'm sorry, he was. If you're not paying to run a race, don't run the race. End of. Like, don't do it. I don't care what your reason is. Oh, it was sold out and I was going to run it anyway, whatever. But more than that, he went to these people and he said, listen, here's what I want you to do. Sign the waiver that you ran it, you know, that you waived your rights to basically sue the crap out of everyone if something were to happen to you. And take what would be the fee and donate it to, he gave them a list of groups. And all the groups that he gave them a list of were groups that volunteered at the race, handing out water and stuff like that. Like, I think it was like Boys and Girls Club and, you know, stuff like that, right? Like good things to give money to, right? There's no like, you know, give it to my buddy Joe here, he needs it. No, it was like people like, you know, here are these worthy causes that you could give money to, just give them the amount of the entry fee and all will be forgiven, all will be good, and that'll be that. And they didn't do it, okay? They didn't do it. Instead, they deleted their Facebook profiles, because that's how you found them, through Facebook. They deleted their Facebook profiles rather than sign a waiver and donate the money to a worthy cause. Like, that's a dick move, right? You got caught doing something you weren't supposed to do, and instead of making it right, you bitched out and deleted your Facebook profile. How much of an ass do you have to be? Like, you have to be the scum of the earth to come up with that one, because it's just bullshit, right? So, I don't know. I don't know what goes through people's heads. If there weren't people like that, this world would be a much better place. These are the type of people that end up getting elected to office and, you know, do the shit that they do and send kids off to war to die and shit like that. Like, it's just stupid, right? They're stupid people. It was a shitty thing to do. And then when they got caught, they still remain being shitty. And it's like, the hell, you know, what's wrong with you? Speaking of being shitty, did you hear about this guy, McCarthy, Representative McCarthy? This is good. He's the House Majority Leader. He took over, I guess, for Eric Cantor after he was House Majority Leader and lost his re-election bid. Kind of funny. So McCarthy sat there the other day after John Boehner announced his retirement, which is only the 5th time that a sitting Speaker of the House is retiring midterm. That tells you something about the mess that is the U.S. Congress right now. So McCarthy, who is probably the guy who's going to have the speaker role, but not now. And maybe he did this because he doesn't want to be Speaker of the House. Maybe he doesn't want to run these idiots because they kind of don't, listen to reason. So you end up with him coming out, and he was talking about Benghazi on Fox News. And yeah, I just air quoted news on Fox News because they deserve it. So he's sitting there, and he's like, well, of course we're doing our job. Look at the Benghazi investigation, and Hillary Clinton's poll numbers are in the shitter, right? Paraphrasing him, obviously. He didn't say in the shitter on Fox News, but he was like really ultra proud of the fact that the Benghazi investigation, while it hasn't actually turned up any sort of wrongdoing on the government's part whatsoever, has made Hillary Clinton's poll numbers drop. Basically admitting that the Benghazi investigation has been used to smear one person, and they spent millions and millions of dollars of taxpayer money just to smear one person and hurt her chances to become president of the United States. That doesn't seem right now, does it? No, it's not right at all. In fact, it's completely wrong. That is not what Congress is supposed to be doing. That's a political game that shouldn't be played in Congress. If you want to go after her for something that she's done, do it on the campaign trail when you're a candidate, not when you are an elected official. When you are an elected official, you are there to work for the entire good of the entire United States. Not just the people that voted for you, not just the people that agree with you, for everybody, even the people that disagree with you, even the people that didn't vote for you, even the people you don't like for whatever reason. You still represent them. You represent them in your district because you didn't win your district with 100% of the votes. And I guarantee you that if everybody voted, which is a sham that only like a quarter to a third of the population ever vote, we need to get off that. You need to go vote. Like, other countries that are actual democracies have like 70, 80, 90% voter turnout. Oddly enough, they're the same countries generally that people on Fox News decry as being horrible countries. Like, your Scandinavian countries, which are socialist, and, countries like France and things like that. They actually have very high voter turnout. Voters go and vote, and people generally get what they want out of their government, okay? And the fact of the matter is that, that's neither here nor there. Everyone needs to go vote. But either way, every single elected official is supposed to represent every single person in their district, in their state, in the nation, whatever the office is, okay? And it doesn't matter who agrees with you, who disagrees with you, who votes for you, who doesn't vote for you. You are there to do a job to represent people. Okay, it's a representative democratic republic, right? So we vote for representatives. This is not direct democracy. I don't vote on specific policy. Like, if they want to raise my taxes, I don't get to go and vote yes or no because I think it's a good idea or it's a bad idea. Or, anything else, right? Some states have referendums, some don't. Some towns have referendums, some don't. But you don't vote on every single thing. You have a representative that generally votes in lieu of you and, 99,000 or however many other people, right? So, which causes a whole nother problem with gerrymandering, which is basically they take, what every state should have is basic geographic guidelines to fair districts. What we mean by fair districts is, when we talk about fair districts, and we is me, is like some sort of like square district, right? But yeah, these districts where like there'll be like a population here, and then it'll be connected by a little strip of highway, and then another population here. And the reason they do that is because whichever lawmakers, generally Republicans, but Democrats are guilty of this too. But generally, when they're in control of the state house, when it's time to redistrict, they look and they say, how can we draw this up based on the voter rolls? Because they know the address of all the Democrats and all the Republicans. How can we draw this up to make it most favorable for our party to win more seats, right? And they do that. And that's why states like Texas and things like that, you have all these representatives that come out and they, they're all like Republican, and there's like hardly any Democrats, and it's only in a few areas, or you have all these Democrats and hardly any Republicans, and it's because everything's drawn up so that it's very difficult for the other party to win. And it's ridiculous. And you should just have fair districts where it's just, here's a chunk, and obviously not all states are squares or rectangles, so there's always going to be a little bit of weirdness, but for the most part, you can chunk everything up pretty well and have fair districts. And we should. And why we don't, I have no idea. Why no one's ever passed a law saying that this is the way that it has to be makes no sense to me. And then they do more bullshit stuff. Like they, now we have some states that are saying, okay, well, we're going to split up our electoral college votes based on how many districts certain, whichever party wins. So technically, you as a presidential candidate could lose a state, so the state didn't vote for you, but you might get the lion's share of their electoral delegates because more people voted for, say, your party's, senator or your party's representatives from that state. So somehow, now you have more representation, even though you lost the popular vote. They really want to do this. They really do. Because some people are scared that they're not going to win the popular vote anymore. You know why? Because their ideas aren't that popular. And it's weird because in certain areas their ideas are very popular. And on the surface their ideas seem very popular. And then once people start getting into their ideas and start realizing what they're really saying, then it gets less popular and they lose elections. And then once they've, lost, once they lost, they then rebrand it. It's the same bullshit. They've rebranded it. They've been doing this for 30 years, and I think everyone knows who I'm talking about. And then, so they start out really popular again, and then they're not, and they lose again. And the only reason why they hold on to as many seats as they do in the legislature is because of the way the districts are drawn up. So, and there are certain people that no matter, where on the popularity scale they are, people are still going to vote for them because they're kind of that dumb. Speaking of which, Alabama has, they have this new voter ID law, and you need a photo ID to show at the polls. So now they're shutting down all the places where people can get licenses in the districts where the state lawmakers, which we can guess in Alabama which party those state lawmakers belong to, they're now shutting down the licensing offices in all the areas where the people that will vote the way they don't want them to are. So they can't get their, it's harder for them to get an ID, so then it's harder for them to vote. And at this point, somebody needs to stop saying, oh, well, it's because there's so much fraud and we need to worry about the fraud. Look, there's no statistically significant cases of voter fraud happening anywhere at any time in this country. Election fraud, I'm pretty sure that there are. In fact, right now the state of Kansas is kind of getting sued over that. There's a mathematician who's pretty sure that they can prove, if they get the right records, that there's some foul play happening with elections in Kansas. But other than that, the fact of the matter is that people going to the polls in person, presenting themselves as someone that they're not and voting, the cases of that are statistically insignificant. It has happened so few times, it's not a problem. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I think there's been like 3 instances in like the last, decade or whatever. 3 votes. Okay? Seriously. And no election has been decided by 3 votes anywhere. So, that being said, what are they doing? Well, obviously they're trying to stop certain people from voting. Are they trying to stop liberal people from voting? Are they trying to stop different ethnic groups from voting? they're trying to stop different ethnic groups from voting, and I think we know which ethnic group it is. It's not the largest minority group in the United States, believe it or not, but for some reason they tend to target the 13% of the population whose ancestors came from Africa either by force or mostly by force. And I really don't get why we keep doing that. I mean, I understand in certain parts of this country it's much more than 13% of the population, but overall, from sea to shining sea in Alaska and Hawaii, 13% of the population is African American. I think it's like 13.5%, somewhere in there. And you give them so much shit. What's wrong with you? Seriously, what's wrong with you? So, I can't figure that out. I mean, I get it. I get there's this ingrained, mental thing because so much bullshit had to be said to justify keeping people as slaves for so long that, and there is an institutional set of, conditions that make things the way that they are. And we need to break through all that. We need to break all that down and destroy it. Which brings me to another point, right? And that's Minnesota. Everyone's like, oh, the Black Lives protesters were saying that they were going to disrupt the Twin Cities Marathon. And a bunch of people were writing about this and saying all this stuff about it. Oh, it's terrible. It's this, that, the other thing. Listen, if I were running the marathon and anyone were trying to stop me from finishing a marathon, I don't care who it was, I would run through them. I would run through my 95-year-old grandmother at mile 25. You're at mile 25. You're not thinking clearly? I've never met anyone that was thinking clearly at mile 25. Never. You're not thinking clearly. You want to finish. You know you're going to finish, and nothing's going to get in your way. Because at that point, you are sore, you are tired, you are hurt, you are everything. You are feeling every emotion it is possible to feel at one time, and you are completely and utterly, ridiculously giddy. At least that's the way I get. And nothing will stop me at that point. I don't care. I don't care what it is. I'm not going to stop with 1.2 miles to go for anything. I don't care how valuable or smart the protest. I don't care if it's a bear in my way. I'm getting through that finish line. Bear, no bear. Whatever I got to do, I'm getting through it. Okay? So, that being said, that has nothing to do with any opinion about the protest whatsoever. Okay? That is just, I'm in a marathon, I'm at a certain point, I'm going to finish it. Okay? So, trying to stop people at mile 25, probably not the best idea. I get what you're trying to do. I get what you're trying to say. I'm right there with you on it. Trying to stop people at mile 25, not going to happen. Just not going to happen. It was unrealistic. Because as I said, any runner knows you don't care what's in your way at mile 25. You're going to make it to that finish line. Because it's just one of the most special feelings in the world and it never goes away. Every single marathon feels great when you finish it. So, just nothing was going to stop me. So I didn't say anything about it. A lot of people did. And now they're saying they're not going to do anything. So all this hubbub for nothing. Because I think that they realize that trying to stop a marathon at mile 25 probably wasn't the best idea. And simply because I'm sure that somebody noted to them that at mile 25 a marathoner is not going to stop. And they're not going to let you stop them. They're just not. The only reason anyone would ever stop at mile 25 was medical. If they passed out or something like that. Or medical personnel forced them. I once had a medical personnel about mile 25.8 be like, are you okay? Are you going to finish? And I'm like, I got a half mile left. I don't care what's happening. I'm finishing. Like, I wasn't hearing any of it. I was going to finish that race. I was cramping up. I was in a lot of pain. I was having a major bad time. This was Yonkers, actually, because it was still very hot for Yonkers last year. And I ended up sitting mid-race because I had to poop. I believe I've shared that story with you. At mile 12, I started getting the rumblies. I knew I had another mile to go before I got to the Porta-Johns. And it was a really bad mile. And then it was like 9 minutes in that Porta-John. This is when I stopped using goo. And 9 minutes afterwards, and I was on such a PR pace. I was burning up the first half. It was probably the fastest half I've ever done in my life. And it just killed me after that. I was done. I was walking the rest of the way. And by the time I was at the finish, I was just cramping up really bad. So, you know, the medical personnel actually followed me in on the bike, and they made me go straight to the medical tent and get iced down and everything, and get everything taken care of, which is cool, but I wasn't going to stop. You're not going to stop me at mile 25. You're not going to stop me at mile 25 and a half. You're not going to stop me at mile 26. At mile 26.2, when I've crossed that finish line, you want me to march, you want me to protest, let me eat something and get a little something to drink first, but I'm right there with you. Right? So, like, that's cool. That's fine. You want to crash the after party, that's fine. Do it. That's great. But don't crash the race. Because a racer doesn't care. Because they're just there and they're doing their thing. And for a lot of those people, it's going to be the first, maybe only marathon they ever run. Right? And, you know, why take that away from them for anything? And most people who are doing that, they're not going to let anyone take that away from them. They're just going to go through and they're not going to care what's going on. And that's not to say that what's going on isn't an important thing. That's saying that I'm doing this and it's getting done. Right? And maybe they're running, you know, maybe someone's got like, you know, something on that they've had made up, you know, for Black Lives Matter or whatever. Whatever their cause is, and they're running for it, right? That's just the way it is, you know. Because everyone's got something that they're running for, right? And even though they might not have it emblazoned on their chest or whatever, there's a reason why they're running. And you know, that's with them. And they carry with them however long they're running, right? I have a lot that I carry with me. I have a lot that I carry with me personally. There's a lot of things, a lot of causes, obviously, I care about. And you know what? Honestly, there's a lot of things that I've left on the road, too. And there's a lot more that I need to leave on the road. And I try. I really do. And there's a whole lot going on. And I think that that's true for a lot of runners. There's a whole lot going on. We joke a lot. I see a lot of jokes about, you know, I run, you know, to get rid of the crazy or whatever. And we joke about it. But it's really true. I mean, a lot of us are out there, and it's therapy for us in a lot of ways, not just physical. But, I mean, you have all these miles where you're just contained in yourself. Or if you have someone staying with you for all that, you know, what else are you going to do but talk? So, you know, we're out there, we're doing this, and, you know, we're carrying our own weight with us. And maybe it's your weight too, but maybe it's not. And for the most part, you know, I think we're not going to let something get in our way. It's just, you know, you have to be really stubborn to really get through a marathon. And it really doesn't matter what obstacles in your way, particularly at mile 25. Like I said, you're just going to get through it. So they announced that they're not going to do anything, and good for them. I'm glad. As I said, you want to crash the after party, by all means, do it. Do it. Protest. Do your thing. Get your thing out there, right? It's totally cool. Don't touch anyone's medal, because I have every single medal that I can find right now. I'm still missing a few. I'm hoping they're in boxes in the garage still. I haven't gotten to the boxes in the garage, but we will see. And, you know, don't touch anyone's medal. Don't touch anyone's bib. But yeah, you know what? Protesting is supposed to provoke a response. If you're not provoking a response, you're not doing it right. Gandhi said that. MLK said that. There's nothing, you know, people call it passive resistance. There's nothing passive about it. It's active. It may be nonviolent. It's supposed to be nonviolent. You should always be nonviolent. I know other people don't agree with me. That's fine. That's their opinion. But I really think that real nonviolence, really truly being nonviolent and getting other people to do it accomplishes much more and allows for much broader inclusion after the fact and getting things worked out. And you know, so you should be nonviolent but never passive. When you're protesting something, you should be in people's faces. You should provoke a response. You want a response. If you're not getting a response, then you're not doing anything. That's the whole thing. You know, and the popes talk about conscientious objectors and met with that woman. She's not a conscientious objector. She's actually a hypocrite because she denies, you know, people gay marriage licenses, well, marriage licenses based on their sexual orientation. But she herself has been divorced 4 times or 3 times, married 4 times, and was pregnant with another man's child while she was married to somebody else. Pretty sure that's all against the Bible too. So she's not a conscientious objector. That's my problem. That's why I'm upset with him. But like, you know, she's not doing anything special. She's just going to jail because she's an asshole, right? Unlike other people who are actually protesting or actually provoking a response and doing something important. And you need to make a distinction between the two. It's very important. You know, so, you know, be nonviolent and, you know, stick together and keep it up. But, you know, have some sense about it. Because when you mess with certain types of runners, they're not going to care. You know, they're not going to care during the race. It's not going to happen. Pretty much all my feelings shut down for the outside world after a certain bit. You know, I get to a certain point where it's just like, all right, now I'm just going to finish and I don't care. And, you know, all you're caring about is inside. And, you know, you just, it just happens and you just get to that point. And so it was not a good idea on their part. And I think they realized it and they stopped. So that's cool that they're not going to mess with it. And they'll find something else to do. And I'm sure that they will find something much more effective and they will go for it. And let me tell you something, if I were in the Twin Cities area, I would go right there with them. I would. But I'm not. So I won't. And I won't be in the Twin Cities area. I ain't running that marathon. So I'm running my own stuff. So we will see how that all goes. Other than that, there's something else. Oh, there's a hurricane headed for me. Because that's normal. You know, when I was a kid, we had one hurricane, 1985. Before that, the last hurricane before that was in like the 50s. Right? So 30-something years later, we have one hurricane. Now, 30 years after that, we've had 2 in the last 4 years. We might have 3. We have to see what happens. We're going to find out on Monday. This really sucks. So, for all you global warming deniers, seriously, I shouldn't say global warming. The proper term is climate change. Climate is changing. It is being changed by things that human beings are doing. We need to stop. We're already causing the extinction of animals. We are causing loss of shoreline. Right now there's an immense cold spot in the North Atlantic. You guessed it, right under Greenland, and this is not good. It's a sign that possibly the oceanic conveyor that changes the temperature and keeps everything kind of normal is slowing down. It's also a sign that maybe too much glacial melt is happening in Greenland. That's all very bad, very, very bad news. And so the question is it already too late? Who knows? But we really need to start doing something. We need to start being smarter or we're all going to be in big trouble. And we're not going to be in big trouble because we won't be able to adapt. We're going to be in big trouble because we're not going to be able to grow the things that we're used to growing. We're not going to have the animals around that we need around. It's not going to work out. So the Earth will survive. Listen, I'm not trying to save the planet. I'm trying to save humanity. The planet will survive, with or without us. The planet has the entire capability of wiping us out if it gets to that point. And it will. It absolutely will. This planet will not tolerate creatures pushing it too far. Okay? It won't tolerate creatures pushing it too far, It won't tolerate comets pushing it too far. It won't tolerate anything pushing it too far. Life needs a very delicate balance. If something screws up that balance, the Earth gets rid of life first. The Earth survives, okay? I'm not saying that the Earth has a consciousness and that it's, making this decision. That's just the way the natural order of things work, right? Couldn't sustain the dinosaurs died, or some of them became chickens. But mostly the dinosaurs died, okay? It's a mass extinction event. There have been five of them? 6 of them? I can't remember right now. My mind's kind of shot with statistics for some reason tonight. I think it's because I ran so fast. And I've been under a lot of stress. Actually, one of my friends actually remarked that I've been forgetting a lot lately when I'm speaking. I've been having difficulty thinking about what I'm saying, and perhaps that I should be worried about that. And I don't think I should be. I'm under a little bit more stress than normal right now. I'm usually under quite a bit of stress, and just have to go and live with it and deal with it, and we'll see what happens from here. But other than that, so there have been several mass extinction events, and there will be another one sometime in the future. Whether it's our doing or whether it's someone else's doing, who knows? But the fact of the matter is we're kind of in the middle of what might be a mass extinction event. We are having more species go extinct right now over the course of the last couple hundred years than have been before that. So things were pretty stable before that, since the last, over the last few millennia. But it's sort of picked up pace around the same time we kind of started, And the thing is that, like, mass extinction events take longer than a human lifespan, okay? They take longer than 2 human lifespans. They take a very long time. This is something that I've realized. I recognize the vastness of everything, right? I recognize the scales of time and distance and everything like that. I get it. I can conceptualize it. I can visualize it. I get that there's going to be billions of years after me. There were billions of years before me. And I get how massive an amount of time that is. I think a lot of people can't visualize it. I don't think because they don't want to visualize it or they don't have the actual capability of doing it. I think it can be very scary and very daunting to people. The immense amounts of time and distance between objects and things and events. And I think it makes life much easier for them when they can just kind of think of things in the term of a few lifetimes, and makes it easier. And it unfortunately shorts them on understanding that certain things that we know about, because we can look through the record that has been left in, on the planet, take much longer, that there's much more subtlety to really terrible things than what we see. I think that's why disaster movies are so popular, because, very quickly things go wrong, and oh my God, how could anyone have prepared for something so quick, right? And they don't recognize that, like, yes, over the course of centuries and millennia, a whole bunch of species end up going extinct and dying, but it's still sudden in the sense of geological time, in the sense of galactic time, in the sense of universal time. It's still a very short amount of time. A few thousand years is nothing. When you think about 1,000 versus 1,000,000 and what the great difference is, right? 1,000 million, 1,000,000 is 1,000,000. 1,000 millions is 1,000,000,000, right? So you think about the vast amount that 1,000,000,000 is, and then there's more, and then there's, 14 of those, right? And then we're talking, the dinosaurs went extinct 65 million years ago. And that's a very long time. But that's, a fraction of the time that the Earth's been around. So, and we've only been around, you know, Homo sapiens have only been around for, you know, a couple 100,000 years. And then, you know, different species of our genus have been around for a couple million years, true. But still, that's not a lot of time at all. So, you know, it's been enough time to get to the point where we're at, but it's not a lot of time when you're talking, once again, about geological time, about galactic time, about universal time. It's not a lot of time. We haven't traveled that much distance either, right? Even though we've traveled vast distances, the eclipse kind of put that into perspective for me. I realized as I was watching it and how slow it was, how fast it was in terms of the size and distance between the Earth and the moon and the sun and all that. In that scale, right, the eclipse happens very quickly. But on our scale, it seems to happen very slowly because we're very small. So think about that next time you're like walking in front of the sun and casting your shadow on an ant. That ant is, you're eclipsing the sun to that ant. That is what your shadow is. You're eclipsing the sun to the ant. And imagine the time that passes for the ant. You see what I'm saying? So I'll leave you with that. Think about that, right? Think about the smaller species, the ant, or, you know, even the bacteria, right? You eclipse the sun to that bacteria and think about because maybe that's a better scale. I'd have to actually look into the scale, but so you're eclipsing the sun to that thing and think about like the time and how it would be perceived by them instead of being perceived by you, and how the sun perceives the Earth eclipsing the moon, right? Think about that, and we will see you next time on the Gil Can Run Show. So have fun, keep running, and remember, if Gil can run, then so can you. Ciao.